Some athletes chase glory their entire lives. But these 12 Olympic stars had their dreams cut tragically short. Number 1. Nodar Kumaritashvili. He was just hours away from living his Olympic dream. Then, in a split second, everything changed. Nodar Kumaritashvili was a 21-year-old luge athlete from Georgia, competing at the 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympics. Luge is one of the most dangerous Olympic sports. Riders fly down icy tracks at nearly 90 miles per hour. Nodar had trained his whole life for this moment. He was young, talented, and ready to represent his country on the world's biggest stage. But during a practice run on February 12, 2010, tragedy struck. Nodar lost control on the track's final turn. His sled launched into the air, throwing him into a steel support beam. The crash happened live, witnessed by millions. Medical teams rushed to help, but Nodar died from his injuries shortly after. He was buried in his hometown of Bakuriani, Georgia, where he's remembered as a national hero. His death led to major safety changes in the sport. Gone at 21, but never forgotten. Number 2, Steve Prefontaine. They called him Pre, and he ran like his life depended on it. Steve Prefontaine was America's golden boy of track and field in the 1970s. At just 24 years old, he held every American distance running record from 2,000 to 10,000 meters. Pre competed in the 1972 Munich Olympics, finishing 4th in the 5,000 meters. He wasn't just fast, he was fearless. He believed in pushing limits and running from the front, never holding back. Fans loved his aggressive style and rebellious spirit. On May 30th, 1975, after a meet in Eugene, Oregon, Pre was driving home alone. His car crashed into a rock wall on a winding road. He died instantly at age 24. Some say he swerved to avoid another car. Others blame the sharp curve. Steve was buried at Sunset Hills Cemetery in Eugene, the running capital he helped build. His legacy inspired generations of runners. Pre proved that heart matters as much as speed. Number 3. Dražen Petrović. He was Europe's basketball Mozart. Then a rainy highway took him away. Dražen Petrović was a basketball superstar from Croatia who revolutionized European basketball. He competed in multiple Olympics, winning silver medals with Yugoslavia. Later, he joined the NBA, playing for the Portland Trail Blazers and New Jersey Nets. Dražen wasn't the biggest or strongest, but his shooting was pure magic. He proved European players could dominate in America. At 28, he was entering his prime. On June 7, 1993, Dražen was a passenger in a car traveling through Germany in heavy rain. The driver lost control and crashed into a truck. Dražen died instantly. The basketball world was devastated. He was buried in Zagreb, Croatia, where thousands mourned. The city built a museum in his honor. His jersey number 3 was retired by the Nets. Dražen opened doors for international players in the NBA. His shot was legendary, but his life was cut heartbreakingly short. Number 4, Camille Muffat. She conquered the pool at age 22. 3 years later, the sky betrayed her. Camille Muffat was a French swimming sensation who dominated the 2012 London Olympics. She won gold in the 400-meter freestyle, plus silver and bronze medals. Camille was powerful, graceful, and unstoppable in the water. After London, she retired at 23 to explore new adventures. She wanted to experience life beyond the pool. She became a reality TV personality and traveled the world seeking thrills. On March 9, 2015, Camille was filming a survival show in Argentina. She was a passenger in a helicopter that collided with another aircraft midair. The crash killed everyone on board, including Camille, at age 25. France mourned deeply. She was buried in Nice, her hometown, where thousands attended her funeral. President François Hollande called her loss a national tragedy. Camille proved champions can conquer anything, except fate. Her smile and spirit remain forever golden. Number 5, Alexis Vastine. He fought for France with pride. But he couldn't fight what came from above. Alexis Vastine was a talented French boxer who competed at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, winning bronze. He was robbed of another medal at London 2012 in a controversial decision that devastated him. Still, Alexis kept fighting. He was training for Rio 2016, determined to claim the gold that slipped away. At 28, he was experienced, focused, and hungry for redemption. Boxing was his life, his passion, his identity. Tragically, Alexis was also in that same helicopter crash in Argentina on March 9, 2015. He died alongside swimmer Camille Muffat while filming a reality show. The boxing community was heartbroken. Alexis was buried in Pontault-Combault, France, where his family and fans said goodbye. His father, also a former boxer, lost his son and best friend. Alexis never got his Olympic redemption, but France remembers him as a warrior who never quit fighting. Number 6, Fabio Casartelli. He wore Olympic gold. Then a mountain road took it all away. Fabio Casartelli was an Italian cycling champion who won Olympic gold in the road race at the 1992 Barcelona Games. At just 24, he was living every cyclist's dream, competing in the Tour de France, the sport's ultimate test. Fabio was talented, determined, and loved by teammates. He rode for Team Motorola alongside American legend Lance Armstrong. The 1995 Tour was supposed to launch his professional career to new heights. On July 18, 1995, during stage 15 in the Pyrenees Mountains, Fabio crashed on a steep descent. He wasn't wearing a helmet, common back then. He hit his head on concrete and died shortly after. The cycling world stopped. His teammates finished the next stage riding side by side in tribute. Fabio was buried in Lombardy, Italy, where his memory lives on. His death changed cycling forever. Helmets became mandatory. Gone at 24, but his sacrifice saved countless lives. Number 7, Flo Hyman. She stood 6'5" and played with giant heart. Then that heart suddenly stopped. Flo Hyman was a pioneering American volleyball star who helped put women's volleyball on the map. She led Team USA to a silver medal at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. Flo was powerful, graceful, and a natural leader. At 6 feet 5 inches, she dominated at the net. After the Olympics, she played professionally in Japan, inspiring young athletes worldwide. She believed in breaking barriers and empowering women through sports. At 31, she was still playing at an elite level. On January 24, 1986, during a match in Japan, Flo suddenly collapsed on the bench. She died minutes later. Doctors discovered she had Marfan syndrome, a genetic disorder affecting the heart and blood vessels. She never knew. Flo was buried in Inglewood, California, surrounded by family and admirers. Her death raised awareness about Marfan syndrome and saved lives. Congress later named a law after her promoting women's sports. Flo's legacy towers as tall as she stood, unshakable and unforgettable. Number 8, Ryan Shay. The marathon was his calling, but his heart had other plans. Ryan Shay was a dedicated American long-distance runner preparing for the 2008 Beijing Olympics. On November 3, 2007, he ran in the U.S. Olympic marathon trials in New York City, the race that would decide who represented America. Ryan had trained for years for this moment. He was 28, strong and determined. The weather was perfect. Everything seemed aligned for his Olympic dream. But just 5 miles into the race, Ryan collapsed on the pavement. Medical teams rushed to his side, but he never regained consciousness. Ryan died from a heart condition called enlarged heart, which went undiagnosed. The running community was devastated. He was buried in Central Lake, Michigan, his hometown, where he'd run countless training miles. His wife, also a runner, honored his memory by continuing to compete. Ryan's story reminds us that even the strongest hearts can hide silent dangers. He ran with everything he had, until he couldn't anymore. Number 9, Sergei Grinkov. He made ice dancing look effortless. Then his heart stopped on that same ice. Sergei Grinkov was a legendary Russian figure skater who, with partner and wife Ekaterina Gordieva, won 2 Olympic gold medals, 1988 and 1994. Together, they were poetry on ice, graceful, powerful, perfectly synchronized. Sergei was the strong, silent partner who made the impossible look easy. Their love story captivated the world. After 1994, they turned professional, touring and performing globally. At 28, Sergei was still skating at the highest level. On November 20, 1995, during a routine practice in Lake Placid, New York, Sergei suddenly collapsed. He suffered a massive heart attack caused by blocked arteries, a condition nobody knew he had. Ekaterina watched helplessly as paramedics tried to save him. He died on the ice he loved. Sergei was buried in Moscow, Russia, mourned by millions. Ekaterina later wrote a book about their love and loss. Their daughter carries his legacy forward. Sergei's grace and strength live on in every performance of their iconic routines. Number 10, Slavin. He wrestled for his new country. Then terror stole his future. Mark Slavin was an 18-year-old wrestler representing Israel at the 1972 Munich Olympics. Born in the Soviet Union, Mark had immigrated to Israel just a year earlier. The Olympics were his chance to prove himself on the world stage. Wrestling was his passion, and he was talented beyond his years. Mark was one of Israel's youngest Olympians, full of hope and potential. Munich was supposed to be his breakthrough moment. But on September 5, 1972, Palestinian terrorists stormed the Olympic Village, taking Israeli athletes hostage. Mark was among them. For hours, the world watched in horror. Negotiations failed. In the chaos of a failed rescue attempt, Mark and 10 other Israelis were murdered. He was just 18. Mark was buried in Israel, a victim of the Munich Massacre, one of the darkest days in Olympic history. His wrestling career barely started, but his memory reminds us that sports should unite, never divide. Gone too soon, remembered forever. Number 11, David Berger. He found his home in Israel. Munich took it all away. David Berger was a 28-year-old American-born weightlifter who competed for Israel at the 1972 Munich Olympics. Raised in Ohio, David moved to Israel because he felt a deep connection to the country. He became an Israeli citizen and proudly represented his new homeland. Weightlifting was his strength, but teaching was his passion. He coached young athletes in Israel. Munich was his Olympic debut, and he was honored to compete wearing Israel's colors. Tragically, David was also taken hostage during the Munich Massacre on September 5, 1972. He was killed alongside Mark Slavin and 9 other Israeli team members during the failed rescue. The attack shocked the world and changed Olympic security forever. David was buried in Shaker Heights, Ohio, his American hometown, where family and friends mourned. His dual identity, American and Israeli, symbolized the unity sports should inspire. David's life was stolen by hate, but his courage and dedication inspire us still. He died representing the country he loved. Number 12, Francisco Lázaro. He ran for Portugal under the blazing sun. He never crossed the finish line. Francisco Lázaro was a 24-year-old Portuguese marathon runner competing at the 1912 Stockholm Olympics, Portugal's first-ever Olympic Games. Francisco was proud to represent his country and determined to finish strong. The marathon took place on a scorching hot day, and conditions were brutal. Francisco, like many runners, struggled in the heat. But he pushed forward, refusing to quit. He wanted to make Portugal proud. Around 30 kilometers into the race, Francisco collapsed from heat stroke and dehydration. Medical care back then was limited. Despite efforts to cool him down, he died the next day, becoming the first athlete to die during the modern Olympic Games. Francisco was buried in Lisbon, Portugal, honored as a national hero. His death led to better safety measures for athletes in extreme conditions. At just 24, Francisco gave everything for his country. His courage reminds us that Olympic glory comes with real risks and real sacrifice. 12 athletes. 12 dreams cut short. These Olympians remind us that life is unpredictable and precious. They trained, sacrificed, and inspired, but their time ended too soon. Yet their legacies continue. They changed their sports, their countries, and the Olympic movement itself. If this video moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that matter. Drop a comment telling us which athlete's story touched you most. Remember, champions aren't just measured by medals, but by the impact they leave behind. Rest in peace to all 12. Their spirits still compete.